Hi, you're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore. Boggy Talk is recorded on Boggy Bayou in Niceville, Florida, and is hosted by Justin Wyatt and James Ross, pastors at Church on Bayshore. We typically want every matter of faith and life to have crystal clear answers, but it isn't always that easy. This podcast digs in to help Christians think with a kingdom mentality about topics that sometimes get muddy and bog us down. So let's dive in.
Hey, and welcome to Boggy Talk. Thanks for joining us for the week 5 of Resolved as we are diving into the fifth most popular
Fourth
money, personal.
Remember we started with gosh, man.
How many of? Well, it says week 5. Okay, so number 4 because that's right. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's how organized we are.
We were uncertain.
We were uncertain,
and then we got healthy.
And then we talked about money, but we talked about personal goals,
like development and organization. Then money. Clearly, you didn't listen to all my advice in week 2.
None.
And now here we are with time.
Hey, here we are. Time.
Number 4, week 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Time is on our side.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
There's so many songs with the word time, and it's really
keeps on ticking.
Time after time.
Oh wow,
that's a good one right there. So hey, how are you?
I am doing well. It's about time that you asked me that how I was doing, and I'm great.
Speaking of time, it's about time the Cincinnati Bagels made it to the
Did
Super Bowl.
You say the Bagels?
I said the bagel. I did. It kind of my end didn't pronunciate the Bengals.
The Bagels.
The Bagels. Hey, it's Super Bowl week too. That's exciting.
It is, yeah.
And so, who are you cheering for?
I really
Do you care?
No,
you don't care. You're still salty that Florida had such a bad season in college football. You're like, I renounce football.
Pretty much everybody, I'm like, I like that player. I'd like to see him in the Super Bowl. They're all gone. They're all out. So I'm cheering for the halftime show because typically
it's always so good.
Typically, I'm the dude who's way more into the game than the halftime show, and everybody else annoys me that they're more there for the halftime show. But it's like I was a kid that liked rap in the 90s. So man, this is like my jam.
I don't even know who's doing the halftime show.
Are you serious? Eminem, Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg.
That is your jam,
I know.
man.
I can't believe you didn't know
I don't know. I'm just like, I'll watch it and be
it
like,
wasn't
cool.
Barry Manilow, so Justin didn't know.
Gosh.
He'd be like, I'm into this. I'm down in.
Oh, please,
Bette Midler and her pipes of
Oh,
gold.
no. That's terrible.
I just profiled you in a terrible way.
That is like stereotypical worship leader people.
It is.
That is not me.
Yeah.
Well, I'm torn because, Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the Rams, he went to Georgia, and it's like he served a lot of time in Detroit, and
that's true.
Kind of cheering for him to have a good game. But also I'm like, the Bengals, the underdog. We have family in Ohio, so I'm like sympathetic for them. I honestly don't care who. I don't know who I'm cheering for, but
I've been to LA and not been to Cincinnati, so I guess I'm cheering for the Rams.
There you go. All right. Well, it's going to be a good game. There you go. Go Rams. There you go. The official.
It could be a blowout, actually.
The playoffs have been great.
Yeah.
So except for the first round, but so who knows? Tom Brady retiring. That's exciting news for football as well. We're gonna move on talking about football, but I have to say this because it's related to the Super Bowl. Because being from Atlanta, we're all still a little salty about Tom Brady killing the Falcons, Atlanta Falcons, a few years ago in the Super Bowl, coming back from the terror. It was just terrible.
That was bad.
Yeah. So every Atlanta fan is glad he's retiring, so that they no longer have to listen to every game that Tom Brady plays in, and he happens to be behind. They're like, never count Tom Brady out. Ask the Falcons. We're like, we know.
Well, the Falcons really didn't manage time well that game.
They don't manage time well any game.
And you might be in trouble too if you don't.
That's right. So people may have already skipped forward a little bit. So we are talking about time. This is a goal people make. Number 4 in terms of popularity, the kind of goals that people make, because everyone feels like they don't have enough time. But the interesting thing about time is that we all have the same amount of time in each day.
That's
so
deep
thoughts, not the same amount of time on earth, but the same amount of time in each day. So how do we make the most of time, and how do we not let our calendars control us, but us control our calendars?
Man, you're just firing it out.
I have been sitting on some deep thoughts.
Yeah, you apparently have. So, I mean, the people who made this resolution or say they make this resolution typically make it in terms of they don't feel like they are spending their time time the way they would like to. So they want to spend more time with family, and that's a resolution, or they want to go travel, or they want to, start doing something they enjoy more. Nobody's like, I just wish I could spend more time at work. That's my goal.
Most people are like, how do I spend less time at work?
Right. So, I think that you hit the nail on the head starting off. Like, we first have to acknowledge, okay, we all have the same amount of time, and we have to really say, what's going on with the calendar, and I got to take charge of this as best I can. So I think it begins with that ownership, just like when we talked about money. Like, money can be a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. And time, same thing, can be a wonderful servant, but a terrible master.
Yeah, I think when you're saying that, I was thinking of like somebody who said one time, "Are you gonna let your calendar control you? Or are you gonna control your calendar?" And it was like a sermon, and it was like,
sounded like a sermon.
I know that was some preacher voice, and I'm like, I don't know why that was in, but it wasn't you. Yeah. But really,
I may have said that, but not like that.
But not like that in that voice. It was definitely a memory.
Are you gonna let your calendar serve your
guys? We please listen, please.
Yeah, please. Okay. Do I make any sense right now?
But I think that really is like so many people are like, we've talked about this. I've mentioned this. It was a goal of mine not to say this. I'm just so busy. I'm just so busy. And it's really like at some point, like, so there are seasons where we are busy.
Yeah.
But at some point, that constant busyness is a choice. And I think we have to say, how do we give our time to the things that matter most? And I think, people start with the goal, I want more time to do this. But really, like, so when I make goals, like I was actually talking to somebody about this morning, like the goals I make, I typically don't, to me, I feel like I need to manage time better, but why? And so I don't make goals really related to my time as much as like, these are the goals. So how do I prioritize my time to reach these goals? Right. And we talked about the transcendent goals, like the transcendent goals of like, time with the Lord, making disciples, serving my family. Like those are the goals that don't change. So really, how do I leverage my time? That's the root of this question. How do I leverage my time to reach the goals that really God has called me to reach?
So I do think that we are great people to talk about this because we both have jobs that are not 9-to-5 jobs.
Right.
And we both have a lot of kids in our house.
Mine's 9 to 5. I'm like, literally, I don't punch in a minute early, and after 5, I'm like, don't call me. I will not pray for you. Just kidding.
So what does a typical week look like in the life of Justin Wyatt?
So
hold on, let me get a sip of water.
Oh, yes, please.
I'm doing good on my goals.
Yeah, good job. So there is some routine and some level of organized chaos in each day. So for me, starting the week on Monday, just get up early, have time in the Word, and then get the kids up. I start waking the kids up at 6:30, and then I will either exercise early to or late at night once they're in bed, because sometimes I'll do it during the day if I have free time, but it's typically don't. Then you get ready, do the rounds of school drop off here, usually, in the office, meeting with people, that's every day, Monday through Thursday. It's kind of the drill and the routine. Tuesday nights are late nights here because of rehearsals. Wednesday nights are late nights here because of life groups or meetings after that. So really for us, as a family, there's Monday nights and during the week, Monday nights and Thursday nights that we are home. Right now we have basketball, so one of us takes kids to basketball. And so what we try to do is Friday nights are like chill out, hang out. There's nothing, like we may invite somebody over, go do something, but it's like hangout time. And when we don't have things on Sunday nights here at church, that's the same. It's like we are just hanging out. Like there's no agenda. Weekends, we really try to keep open for that reason too, because it's not just us who need some downtime to recoup, to Sabbath. Our kids need that too. Our kids need some unprogrammed time where we don't have to be somewhere or do something. So yeah, it is. And then there's appointments, and there's this, and there's, this rehearsal or this concert, this. So it is, it takes a lot of synchronization. I know that you live this life as well. And that's hard because, it's inevitably at least once a month, one of us, usually me, but one of us forgets to say, oh, there's this. And so it's a last minute scramble to, oh, we got to do that. So I think for us, there's just, life is busy, but like ultimately we make the decisions for our schedule and we're accountable for that. So I can't look at my calendar and blame the calendar. I got to say, what am I saying yes? What am I saying no to? What about you?
Usually I wake up every morning at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, depending on what time I went to bed and what's going on, and read the word, and probably check it, like respond to urgent emails, and then send a note to Charlotte, who kind of holds me accountable here, like what my schedule looks like for the day, which is usually in a shared calendar. And then take kids to school, go to the gym usually right then. And then Mondays is for the most part study day. And then I'll meet with all the staff, like the people who report to me in the afternoons. And then usually that's my meeting night. So like I have had a meeting this past Monday night, and I'll have a meeting Monday night. So sometimes I don't need one, but that's the night I'll be like, okay, if I need a meeting. And then Tuesday is, I try to, again, in the morning, and then go to the gym, and then pretty much like in the office all day on Tuesday, getting stuff done. Tuesday, I'm smoked by 4 o'clock.
Because we have and our meetings are like, I mean, they're like good, but it's also like, we're all like,
so I've recognized, like, after that, I'm done. I'm not going to try to work on anything else. And so usually right now our kids have practice, or like we've been going to like see some other like students in our church, like play ball and stuff like that. Just kind of, hey, I can't do anything that requires a whole lot of mental, alertness. But, so Monday night, about half the month, we're at home as a family. Tuesday night, we're home, but it's late. So we don't all eat dinner together. But Christy just kind of has to, move back what time we eat dinner together based on the kids' activities. Wednesday night, I mean, and I'm exhausted Wednesday night because, I'm here. And then Thursday, and Wednesday is kind of like my meeting with people day. And then Thursday, is kind of, I try to keep pretty open in case I'm behind on sermon prep and study, just to do what I want. So I think that's a big thing I learned. I heard Andy Stanley say one time, like, the most successful people actually have the most margin in their life. And so, I'm super busy, but I try to really keep Thursdays to like open,
day,
like so that whatever is a priority. And some of that is because we'll have weeks where there's a funeral, there'll have weeks where something happens in my family life, where there's a crisis I got to step into. So having that Thursday is good. Friday is my off day, except for right now at school. So my wife is looking forward to that being over. And then for the most part, Saturday we do not plan anything, and it's whatever Christy says we're gonna do. And then Sundays, about twice a month are insane. But I'll say a couple things. One is I've had to make exercise a priority, and it feels like other things don't matter. And I've had to intentionally plan like one day a month where I don't have anything on the calendar, and I'm not going to meet with anyone, and I'm not working on a sermon. And it's just, hey, whatever. Like think about things, work on projects, those kind of things. And then, I do really feel like protecting one night a week where we know we're going to eat together as a family and not be rushed is important. And, we just, I know I don't want to harp on this again, but, we try not to be gone every other weekend. That's part of the reason we don't do travel sports. It just exhausts us, know? And we're already exhausted. We're already running and going and going and going. So, and again, I'm not saying we won't completely, but anyway. And we try to make sure we have some things on the calendar planned out.
Yes.
So,
And don't you think, like, as a culture, we're just really bad at this, like time management and prioritizing? Like, I think especially as Christians, like, who should be the most, like, not scheduled, but the most, like, wanting to not be overcommitted. So it should be us, right? And we're typically the ones, I can't do that, I'm so busy, I'm so tired. And it's like, this is just like not the way we should be. And I think it's taken some seasons for me of being like, I can't live like this. Like, I can't, I love to say yes to things. I don't like to say no to things, not because I'm a people pleaser. I don't like to miss out. I don't like, people are getting together. I'm like, I want to be there. I want to be involved. And for me, it's taken several different times, and Christy would agree, of us both, usually at different times, but sometimes at the same time being like, you know what? We're out of whack. Like, we're something's out of whack here, and we've got to adjust. And what do we need to adjust?
I told you the other day that I felt like, I think you asked me how to do, and I said I think I'm doing really well right now. So that causes me to realize something's probably out of balance. You know what I mean? Like, and I think what you're just saying there is evaluating like something's out of whack. And the reason, and you may have edited some of this out, but the reason I had you and I kind of walk through almost boringly what our weeks look like is because I wanted people to hear we are super busy and we do have a lot going on. I mean, for your job, I know Tuesday night and Wednesday night, you're never home. Half the time on Sunday night, you're never home. You're trying to schedule in Zoom meetings. So like we are really busy, but you know, one of the tensions here of why people have this goal is that they don't feel like they spend enough time with their family. And so like, you know, you really have to make space to be present. And it's not being at something just watching your kid all the time. You know, like it's space where you're together. And if you don't do that, like you're just, I mean, it flies by.
Yes,
it is
does.
flying by for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got our oldest is 14. I'm like, I literally just last week, he like came in our room and started talking to us. He was up working on some homework and he came in and started talking to us. And I had this like, almost like existential moment where he was talking to us and I was just staring at him and he's so tall. He's taller than me.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at him like, when did this and I don't even know what he was talking about.
Started singing John Lennon, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
and the
boy.
Cats in the crew.
Oh, yeah.
But I was literally just like, when did this, how did that get, you know, because it's happened so fast. And I think for us, it has been, you know, and you have a large family, we have a large family. For us, it's been, you know, we have to learn to be present. And that's hard because I think my personality isn't necessarily like that. I'm like, what are we doing? How are we doing? What else do I need to do?
Right.
And so it is a fight to like put the phone down and be present. And I think for us, what that's looked like, when our kids were young, Christy and I were both big on kids have early bedtimes because we need time together to protect our relationship, to invest in our, and so kids were even through like until they started middle school, it's like 7:30. They're in bed. That's non-negotiable. Like so that we had time. Now as they get older, that is increased, and so now we're at this stage where the little ones are up early and the big ones too because of school, and then they're up late finishing homework and doing stuff. And so it's like, well, we either fight it or we leverage it. And so, you know, our kids do go to bed at different times. And so we're like, okay, so how do we leverage this time? And so like that time late at night now, and I think for us it's been an adjustment, but and once we kind of like mentally got over the fact like, okay, we have to readjust how the two of us are spending time together, because it's not going to be in the evenings as much anymore while they're in bed, but it's going to give us time like one-on-one with one of our kids or two of our kids. Like, and that's when we're laughing about stuff. It's when we're like, they're telling us about their day and we're asking them questions and we're just cracking up about something and just goofing off. And I think that's where like you can't put a value on that time. And I think that just comes back to like, if we were so busy where we were constantly going somewhere all the time, we would miss so much of that. And our kids would, you know, I think so many times in parenting, especially, it's like we want our kids to have every opportunity to be so well-rounded, and they miss out on what they need the most, which is grounded relationships.
For sure.
You
know, I'm not being funny. Like the movie Click, did you ever see that?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that really, you know, I'd heard a lot of people say to me the days are long and the years are short, you know, because we had 4 kids in under 4.5 years, you know, biologically. And so the days were long and the years were short, and that still continues to be true. And that movie really like was a visual of like, there's grinding days and you are just trying to manage like your career, and you're trying to manage, you know, being in people's lives and all this stuff, and your kids, and you just don't want that. You want to be present. You don't like, the tension is good. Like God is there with you in the tension. But we're talking so much about, you know, parenting, but I think you kind of alluded to this. I do think one thing that becomes more challenging in our season is time with your spouse. How do you guys ensure that you spend time together?
So Fridays right now is our time.
You lucky
because
dog.
I don't come in the office.
You don't have preschoolers anymore.
Yes, all of our kids are in school, and it's amazing. So I would know a lot of Fridays, one of us has something, like whether it's a funeral or she has a meeting or she's doing like a
Christy
workshop.
has lots of funerals.
Yeah, that's right. I have the funeral. She's doing something else, like she's doing some stuff with some workshops she's doing. And so I would say at least half of our Fridays right now are that's time for us. And then we are trying to be intentional about scheduling, time away, even if it's just for an hour lunch or, a dinner. We went away in January for one night. But it was a night, and it was wonderful for our anniversary. So that was, that's like a great thing about having an anniversary.
And they're expecting that's your. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, that's how rumors get started.
Listen, I posted Christy and I's first getaway, like after 3 kids, and my friend was like, "I bet there's gonna be a 4th." And no joke. No joke.
You got
about 6 weeks later.
Oh man.
We found out.
I'm pregnant. Yeah. That's not happening.
I went back on there and Facebook memories was like, hey, you were right, or something like
That's
that.
Funny. But, how about you guys?
We really suck at this right now. Honestly,
right now,
yeah, it is pretty bad right now. So you guys can ask me how that's going if you're listening to Boggy Talk. But we do try to go on a date once a month. And then once a week, we'll try to get to bed and watch a movie. But I fall asleep. I'm so tired. Anyway, poor Christy.
Yeah. It's like, you're so fun.
Dude, it's like, even if we do family movie night, I'm just out, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. You're like, it's I can't.
So we have 3-year-old and 13-year-old. So and you guys were there, so like we're still in the preschool stage. So but she does come with me on Thursdays. We'll have lunch with a couple in our church and she's joining me in that. And I think Dave Snyder said this at our retreat, church is not a competition with your family, it's a collaboration. And I think that's one thing that has benefited me is just I'll bring kids along to some things I have to do. Not if I'm meeting with somebody about, some serious issue, but my kids are going to be around in a lot of things. And I think, that's helped and my family and we have some great friends in the church that we really enjoy being around and spending time with. And so that's helpful. And not that we have a ton of time to do that. And then, but I need to get better.
I think we're
also eating healthy right now. So it's not super fun to go out and eat.
You're like, I can't eat that. And why would I pay that much money to eat something?
I know to eat something I don't like. So, but and then I fall asleep if we're home.
It's just like,
just pray for Christy. She's just really got it rough. So
yeah. Well, sorry. I was like, yeah,
she does. I tell her all the time. I'm like, how do you?
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Both our Christies are just pretty amazing. Anyway. Well, I think too, it's like, it comes back to the why. So we've talked about some practical things and there's plenty of practical tools.
There's a fruit and a root, brother. You said that.
There's a fruit and a root. And it is. It's
listening.
like, but why? Why are we like this? And I think honestly, like for me, recognizing my wanting to be involved in everything and know everything is the root of that can be a good thing, but it also can be some sin issue in my own heart. Like I want to be in control, or I don't want to miss out because I want to know everything.
Knock.
Yeah, who's there?
Control freak. Now you say control freak who?
Control freak who? You.
Yeah.
But it's it is that level of control and
illusion
of control.
Like you, right?
Yeah, be a people pleaser. Yeah, so it's identifying the root and the fruit and the root, and then really coming back to what's most important. And am I making headway into what's most important? Paul writes there's 2 verses where Paul says specifically about redeeming time. Like in Ephesians 5, the chapter 5 begins with be imitators of God. And then he goes into basically leave all this sin behind you. And then he says, and be careful how you walk, not as unwise as wise, making the best use of time because the days are evil. So he's basically saying don't give in to sin because the days are evil. Make the most of your time. Then in Colossians 4, this whole chapter is really about proclaiming the gospel and making an effort to proclaim the gospel. And he says, walk in wisdom. So you see wisdom related to time together. Walk in wisdom toward outsiders, making the best use of time. So it's Paul's saying, make the best use of time, avoid sin. Make the best use of time, reach people.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately, like the way we spend our time can lead us to sin. And it can be the result of sin, but it can lead us to even ways we don't even realize that, or things that we're neglecting, this, sinful neglect of things. But also, our busyness causes us to miss out on people. And I remember this is years ago at our previous church, and I was like doing something, and they're like, "How you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing this." And they say, "Can I just?" You always seem like you're so busy. And that was at church where I should be like very present with people. And I really took that to heart because I was like, that's right. And I think being busy, especially at that time, I kind of learned was a way to compensate for like not wanting to be seen as inefficient, ineffective, or lazy. And so, it's just, and really to cover up insecurity, And I think, by God's grace, the older I get, like the more secure I get, mainly because as you age, you're like, I don't care. People think, but also like, it's just like, I don't want to be that way.
Yeah. And for us, like there's a lot of ministers who are kind of lazy, and I'm not thinking anybody specific. And in fact, a lot of people don't make it in ministry because of that.
Yeah.
But I think, so, and I need to transition and talk about people who waste time, but by and large, our church is made up of a lot of people who are very busy and very efficient and very effective. And like when I say the thing about gathering together with the church regularly, and not forsaking the assembling of ourselves, like I'm not legalistic, but so I don't believe you have to spend Sunday or Saturday necessarily like in worship all day, like not doing anything. However, the principle of Sabbath is there. And if there is no time in your week that is built around resting in Christ and reflecting on his goodness and not trying to, advance your children and advance yourself and advance your career, like you are disobeying God. And it's amazing how if we are just doing the things God has called us to do by worshiping corporately and being in his word and, and resting in him, like if we're doing that, it's amazing how he makes us. It's like the 10% thing about giving. It's like, it doesn't make sense that me giving God 10% or whatever of my income is going to make me more financially free, but it does.
Yeah.
And it's the same with time. Like it doesn't make sense in my mind, but I'm investing in God's investing in me when I do that. And so, and I would just say for we think about all the things we want our kids to do and raising our kids, like the best thing that's going to shape them into who God's called them to be is if we are the example. That God has called us to be. And if we're not for them, then we're putting them before God. Now, I do want to say that there are those who probably are in different seasons where, they work and hey, in the evening, they really don't have anything going on. And goodness, I'm a little jealous of you right now.
What's that like?
But, being idle is really, idle hands are the tool of the devil. I think that you've really got to say, if I have freedom, praise God for that. How am I going to invest this time in other people, in being healthier? Like we've really got to be intentional about that, I think.
Yeah, it's making the most of the time, really, like saying, hey, I've got this time. Rest is good. Sabbath is not just good, it's commanded. And what you said is so true. I think it's kind of a paradox to say it this way, but our Sabbathing and our rest is actually some of the most productive time because without it, one, we're pretty prideful because we're saying, God, I can do this without rest. And God, we are created, like God commands us to rest because we need to rest in him and recognize everything comes from him and he's the source of all strength. But also it's renewing and it's refreshing. And I think what happens sometimes is people are like, I need to make some time to rest. And so, but our resting isn't actually resting, it's idleness. Like you said, it's consuming. Good. It's still consuming, binging a show.
Binge watching Tiger King is not rest in Christ. I'm sorry.
It's entertaining, but it's not resting and it's not renewing our hearts and it's not the fountain that we need pouring out of us. And so really, it's not that entertainment's bad. Entertainment's great, but it's also like, is this giving me what I need to do what God has called me to do? Amen.
And just a thing about, because one of these things we're taking trips, like, if you're busy all the time, I would just encourage you to, if you're using your vacation time where you're going to be together as a family and not just like going and just, where our calendar's full and we're just going, because you need to give your children and yourself like just some time to relax and enjoy each other. That's why you're doing that, right? Like that's why you're going to be away. And I would just, we've really realized that like there are some trips that like we're just not doing right now because, we just need to go to cabin in the woods and walk, go walk and hike together and just,
rest.
Yeah, rest together. Enjoy each other, like build
love.
Yeah, and the reason why is because I want our family unit to be strong and do great things for the kingdom of God forever, and we need to be intentional about facilitating those relationships.
Yeah.
And I would just say this to you: if you're trying to use things, whether it's watching TV or vacation or whatever, to escape, like, it's one thing that it just relaxes you, but if you're like constantly trying to escape, then there's probably some things you really got to deal with in your life.
Yeah.
And we'd be happy to talk to you about that. And I would just encourage you, like, if you find yourself trying to escape, like that's not a way to live your life.
Right.
And if it's because your job, like, hey, let's talk about, maybe you need to figure out a way to find a new job. Like, I hope that's not you, Justin.
No.
I hope you don't have to escape me. Anyway.
I so agree. I think we just sometimes we'll just check out and I think it's okay every now and then to be like, I need to just do something to, get my mind at ease. But if that's a constant pattern, if it's an avoidance of something that you need to deal with, like that's where
that's what I mean. That was clear. Yeah.
Make an avoidance of
Dude,
absolutely.
how much time have we been talking about this?
We've been talking about this for quite
We said
a
it was
while,
going to be short.
and it's not short because there's just so much to talk about.
Did we make any sense?
I hope so.
I feel like we really, like, this is the essence of Boggy Talk.
If we made sense,
It's muddy.
You can text us a thumbs up. If not, you just say, try harder next time.
We know you're out there, Boggy Talk Nation.
So
you're a silent nation, but we know you're out there.
So, hey, we're really, like, if you don't have someone that you can talk to about this, if you don't have someone say, hey, I need help, and I need someone to hold me accountable, like reach out. Like, we want to connect you with someone who can do that, who can, point you in the right direction. Someone in your life group can be this for you. Someone that you trust, just say, hey, like, hold me accountable to my time and how I spend it and time in the Word. That I think people don't like accountability because they're accountable, but it helps so much. It just does. Somebody's just checking in saying, how's that going? It is so good. So, hey, thank you.
Don't question me. Don't question me how I spend my time.
You're not the judge of me.
Yeah. You're not
thanks
the boss.
for taking
You're not my
the
boss.
time to listen today. Hey, next week we are wrapping up this series.
Praise
Resolved.
Jesus.
So
okay.
We are so resolved. We are resolved to finish next week. If you want to continue
This hasn't
the
been my
conversation,
favorite Boggy Talk topic series.
it's just, but it's been necessary.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. Hey, so
it was my idea, so I mean, I'm not.
So on that note, I will say we would love for you to reach out with some ideas because we are right now having conversations and kind of planning out what we're talking about the rest of the year for Boggy Talk. So hey, if you've got a topic or idea, hey, y'all should talk about this a little bit more or do something. If
you have a word for the year,
laugh. Yeah. So we're just gonna next episode we're just gonna tell corny dad jokes.
There you go.
Oh, hey, thanks for listening, and we hope you'll tune in next time.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.